Hey everybody, we're back with another Acceptable Casualties battle report. Today we have our first version 4 battle report for Flames of War. It's going to be 1,500 points of Armored Squadron taking on 1,500 points of Sturmkompanie in encounter. I'll be back in a second to go over the list and deployment. So here we have our 1,500 points of Armored Squadron. It's going to be the 11th Armored Division, so it's going to be Confident Veteran. Right down here we have our 1IC and 2IC. We have two identical tank platoons. It's going to have two Shermans, one Firefly, and then a command tank with the 50 cal upgrade on the top. Over here we have a motor platoon. That's going to be 4 machine gun teams, a Piat, and a light mortar as well. Back here we have 2 more platoons. One's going to be the Daimler Dingoes. Over here, just 2 of those. And then we have the, Daimler Dingoes, and then the Daimler Armored Cars. One has the sawn-off with the Piat, and the other ones are just regular standard Daimlers. Over here, we have 2 Bofors, self-propelled. And in the back, we have Limited Air Support Typhoon. Altogether, it's about 1,500 points. I think it might be like 5 points shy. But that's what we're looking at here. Armored Squadron. We'll be back in a second to go over Sturmkompanie. So here we have Vin's 1,500 points of Sturmkompanie. They're going to be Confident Veteran. Up here we have the 1IC, 2IC, and a Panzerschreck team. Both command teams have Fausts. Over here we have 2 platoons of regular Sturmkompanie infantry. Everybody is going to be armed with Fausts. That means the command team as well as every base Vin paid for the upgrade. So it's just the Faust party right here. Over here we have some Nebelwerfers with Observer. We have 2 Pack 40s. We have 2 Tigers, and we have 3 Stugs. So altogether, 1,500 points. We'll be back in a second to go over deployment and the objectives. Alright everybody, so we're back for deployment here. I'll go over Vin first. We both wanted to attack. He ended up winning the roll-off, so Vin is the attacking team. He ended up deploying his units first, and then we alternated. For the objectives, Vin put one inside the little roundabout area right there, and another one directly behind the hotel. Back over here, I placed one in front of this little farmhouse down here, and my second objective is right along that hedge and forest area right over there. So for deployment, Vin put his Nebelwerfers, his 1IC, 2IC, and Shrek, and the Tigers in reserve so he can hit that 600 points. For his deployment, he has the Pack 40s over here holding the flank. He has 1 unit of his Sturm platoon right here. His other one is set up right over here. And then his Stugs are on the flank over here. For my deployment, I had some recce units, so I used the spearhead rule. Think I did it right. And just a disclaimer here, this is our first game of V4, so I'm going to go, if I had to put my money down, that we are going to get plenty of rules wrong. So you guys can point all of those out now in the comment section. But for deployment, I had the armor cars and the dingoes. Like I said, I was able to extend my deployment zone with spearhead, so I pushed them up here. I think I had an inch or 2 left to give, but I just kept them tucked behind the hill over there. Back there, I put the 1IC and 2IC tucked into the woods. I have 1 unit of Shermans over here behind the hotel, and then I have my other dingoes over here behind that little bungalow. I also have the plane who's eligible to come in. He's starting on the table. For reserves, it's going to be the Bofors, my second platoon of tanks, and then my motor rifle platoon. So that's what we're looking at for deployment. Vin has first turn. We'll be back in a second for top of turn 1 for the Germans. So we are back here for the top of turn 1 for the Germans. You know, it took a little longer than usual, reading the rule book, trying to figure this stuff out. So this turn, Vin opted to try to do the blitz move with these guys, and I think that was it, right? Yeah, just for these guys. And the Stugs, yeah. So he failed his blitz with them, and they just pushed him up to the fence. The Stugs, he did pass his blitz move and made his way into the middle of the road over there. Down here for movement phase, Vin failed to dig in with these guys here, and then with the Pack 40s, he moved his 4 inches through open terrain or cross country, whatever they call it now, and pushed up there and opted not to shoot. Vin did pass his blitz move with the Stugs, like we said earlier. He went to the middle of the road. He fired 6 shots because he was able to see the tops of the Daimlers over there, but he rolled, I think, what was
I
it?
had 1-4 and everything was all
1-4 and everything else was like 1s and 2s, so he didn't get any hits on that. And then he with his, I think the German was able to do another move order, so he opted to do the shoot and scoot and then just push even a little bit further up the table. So that's all happening here for Germans on the top of turn 1. We'll be back in a second for the Brits, bottom 1. So we are back here for the top of turn 1 for the Brits. On this turn, things went all right, not bad. So we failed to do a blitz move here. We moved up along the side of the hotel there with our Shermans. We also failed to do our blitz move here with the Dingoes, so we just pushed them up to the crossroads. I was really contemplating doing that 48-inch move with these guys and then putting a little bit of pressure down here on this objective, but Vin reminded me he did have 6 machine gun bases, and I just didn't feel like putting those guys in there and getting taken off the table that early. It would have been a lose-lose. Back here, I failed to do the blitz move with my command teams, so I just had to move them out to that side. And then I did pass. I didn't do anything. I moved up with these guys to the top of the hill right here. And in the shooting phase, I fired down with the Daimlers. I had the 1 Piat in there, and I was able to get a bail on this Stug over here. Back up over here with the Shermans, I failed to hit with the Firefly, but I did drop 2 things of smoke there on top of these guys, so that went pretty well. Then with the Shermans in the back over there, I fired 2 more shots down here into the Stugs. I needed 6s. I rolled a 5 and a 1, I believe. And then with the machine gun fire from the Dingoes and then the 2 armored cars over here that couldn't do any damage to those Stugs, I was able to peel off 2 bases down here from Vin. I killed the command team because I got the pick. He failed his roll. So I think that base on the outside wing is outside of command range. So that's what we're looking at here for the bottom of turn 1. We'll be back in a second for top of turn 2 for the Germans. We are back for the top of turn 2 here for the Germans. Pretty good turn for Vin right here. So we'll just start down here. Vin started to push his Pack 40s up along this little alleyway between the hill and the houses in the back over there. Back over here, he opted to just dig in the Sturm platoon that's sitting around this objective over here. Up here, Vin went for the blitz move, passed it, and then he tried to do the dig in with the German special rule to do 2 orders, and he failed that part. So they're just kind of sitting here on the ground behind the fence. The Stugs passed their blitz, moved up, opened up a volley of fire over here on my Shermans. They got a bail, and then they blew up my Firefly. They blew up one of my Shermans. So top of my turn, I think the way it works now is I'd see if I can get that guy back in the tank, or I'm going to start rolling for motivation to keep these guys on the table. Vin also tried to do his shoot and scoot and ended up failing that. So this is what we're looking at here for top of turn 2. We'll be back in a second for bottom of turn 2 for the Brits. So we are back here for the bottom of turn 2 for the Brits. Things just keep coming up great for me in this first game of version 4. So as you guys can see, the Sherman platoon over here, I failed to get my guy back in the tank. I think I rolled a 2 and then I rolled a 1 for the motivation to keep the platoon on, so they ended up just bailing out, so they're gone now. I failed to get the plane in again, and then a whole lot of fail over here on this side of the table. Moved up my Shermans to this position. I was able to blitz up with my armored cars, and then I moved them over to here to get side shots over on the Stugs. I ended up getting 2 hits with the Daimler cannons, whatever the gun is that they have on there, the Strength 7 gun. I got 2 hits, Vin passed 1, and then he mashed another one, so I was only able to get a bail on that middle tank. And then I had 2 shots on my Sherman down here, needing 4s, and I missed on both of those. And then to add insult to injury, I was going to try to do the shoot and scoot back over there to give those guys a little bit more cover, but that didn't really work out like that. So they're just kind of hanging out right there. And then my Dingoes were the only ones that were able to get back into cover after they fired a couple machine gun shots down into here. I got 1 hit, but Vin ended up making a 3-up save, so that didn't work out. So not a very good turn here for the Brits. Hopefully we can get that plane in next turn and some of our reserves, because if not, this is going to start getting ugly. So we'll be back in a second for top of turn 3 for the Germans. So we are back here at the top of turn 3. Oh man, just getting better and better for good old Joe. So Vin failed another blitz move. No, you just dug in, right?
Yeah. I failed the blitz actually, so I can't dig in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so you're just boned. So that ended up happening. Up over here, Vin failed his blitz, so he just had to move his Stugs over here. But it didn't really matter because Vin was able to fire 3 shots, got 2 hits. I failed 2 more saves, and then he just blew up my 1 IC and 2 IC over there. So that happened. And then the Pack 40s over here, they pushed up along the hill over there and really weren't able to get any action. And he failed his reserve roll to get his Tiggies in over here. So this is what we're looking at now, top of turn 3. I don't know what I'm going to do at this point. It'd be nice if the plane showed up and I got my reserves here. It might make things a little bit easier, but we'll see how it goes. Bottom of turn 3. Be back in a flash. So we are back for the bottom of turn 3. Not that good again. So we did get the plane in this turn, down here. Didn't get our reserves in. In the movement phase, I elected to push up to the fence right here with my moves. I did a blitz move with these guys over here to get side shots. So in the shooting phase, I had some machine gun shots from here, and from the dingoes go into the rifle teams over here, and I think I only got 1 hit and ended up making a save. Down here I had 2 shots from the cannon and then 1 shot from the Piat. I got 2 hits. I was able to get 2 bales. I failed both firepowers. And then up here with the bird, I was able to rain down a couple more shots. I got 2 more bales. I failed to get the firepowers on those as well. So I think we played it. Vince still had to roll for double bales, that he had to do the motivation to keep the guy on the table. I didn't see it. Well, we didn't even look it up in the book. I just assume that's still a thing. I have no idea if it is or not. We'll check in a minute. But yeah, so there's 3 bale tanks here right now. But the way things are going, they're probably all going to jump back in the tank. So this is what we're looking at here. Top of turn 4. Vin got some reserves. Probably going to end up coming in this turn. He got 2 dice. So we'll be back in a flash to see how things go for the top of turn 4 for the Germans. so we are back for a recap of all of turn 4. The dice rolling was just so intense. If you watch the first 3 turns, it was fairly consistent. So my eyes are glazed over at this point. So we'll go back to the German top of the turn. Vin was able to get his Tigers in over here. He kept his Pack 40s over there. These guys down here once again didn't move, and then this platoon over here, what ended up happening? I guess we'll just go over the whole turn because to make it lack of confusing. The platoon that was left over here through his combat and my combat, Vin was able to blow up the dingoes. I passed my motivation to my unit last stand to keep these guys alive. And then in my turn, I shot some machine guns down here. I was able to kill a base in close combat and one with machine gun fire, which got Vin down to 1 guy left. He failed his motivation to stay in the combat and fell back to this objective. The Stugs over here for that turn at the top of turn 4. God, this is super confusing, but whatever. Yeah. So at the top of turn 4 for the Germans, the Stugs moved back this way. They were able to blow up one of the Daimlers, and then he got 2 bales on the other 2. I was able to get 1 back in on my turn and then failed to get another one in back, and then I failed the unit last stand because I only had 1 of the guys left, so they weren't in good spirits. So that's what happened for Vin's turn and a mix of my turn. And then I also was able to get in a platoon of Shermans over here on this side, luckily. Fired 4 shots down into the Stugs on my turn, and then I missed all shots, and then I did my shoot and scoot and move those guys behind the hill over there. The plane also failed to come in for 3 out of 4 turns, so that's been awesome. So overall, pretty crazy so far right now. Things are getting a little hairy on this side of the table. But those Tigers and those Pack 40s and this platoon over here, I mean, they have free reign going all the way across over there. So we'll see how this thing plays out. Going to the top of turn 5 right now. Be back in a flash. So we are back for the top of turn 5 for the Germans. For this turn, the things went, they were okay. Yeah. And we're only going to do the German half of this recap because I didn't have my head up my ass. So down here, Vin had both his reserves came in for the Nebelwerfers, and he brought the 1 IC, 2 IC, and Shrek package all in together, and he brought them over here. Vin also passed his last man standing right there. In movement, he failed to dig in with those guys, so they're just on the ground right now. Up over here, Vin just moved these guys, like I said, into the woods. Nebelwerfer is just kind of parked back there. They can't shoot this turn. The Stugs were able to do a blitz move and jump above that fence over there. For them as well, they fired down into the Shermans down there. Vin got 1 hit. Of course, he aimed at the Firefly. Of course, I failed my 3-up to pass it off to somebody else. But Vin returned the favor and failed to... No, I rolled a 5, right?
You rolled a 5, yeah.
Yeah. And then I rolled a 5 to not bounce it, just kind of shake the hull a little bit. And then my guys bailed out. So hopefully they'll get back in. Down here for the Tigers, Vin pushed up the road a little bit. And then he tried to do the... I think it was with the follow me order is whatever it is. But it was... he rolled a 2. But I think it's just a 2-up for your blitz move for the Tigers is what we looked at in the book, so they weren't able to go anywhere. And then the packs are kind of just holding the hill right here in support. Guarantee you what's going to happen this turn is my M5 half tracks are coming off that corner, and they're just going to get smoked. That's just the way things are going, but we'll see. We'll see. So we'll be back in a second for bottom of turn 5 for the Brits and see how this thing starts to play out. We are back for the bottom of turn 5 for the Brits. Things went all right this turn. Yeah, things went all right. So we ended up getting everybody in for reserves. We brought the Bofers in over there. The half tracks, we ended up doing the cross-country dash, so we were able to get them up to that line over there. Back over here with the Shermans, we did a blitz move to get them on top of the hill. I was going to do semi-indirect fire and keep them at range, but I figured I'd go for those 4-ups. I was also able to get the plane in down over here, and then I pushed up my Dingo over to here. So what we're looking at right now is the shooting phase over here with the plane. I was able to get 1 destroyed and 1 bail on that. Right? Was it 1 destroyed, 1 bail with the plane? No, you made 1 save.
1 save,
and then I blew 1 up. And then between the Firefly and the Shermans, I got 4 hits and 1 with the Firefly, 3 with the Shermans. We were able to blow up and bail another one over here. The Dingo pushed up, machine gunned, wasn't able to get any hits on this guy here. In the assault phase, I got in there. The Shrek whizzed right by our heads, but I failed to kill him. Then Vin failed his motivation, so his guy's still standing down here, and my guy's standing up there. We're both contesting this objective right here. Anything else that happened on this turn? Oh, I think I did like the follow me order with the Bofers to kind of give them a little bit more room to move up the table over there. But that's all that happened here at the bottom of turn 5. When we come back, last man standing down here for Vin, but I think both of our armies are actually in pretty good shape now as far as motivation goes, for at least for a couple more turns. So we'll be back in a flash, top of turn 6, Germans.
Oh, you last man.
So we are back here for Germans, top of turn 6. Pretty decent turn for Vin. He was able to blitz and then move his Tigers up the road over here to give them a line of sight down there at that Sherman platoon. Vin went, not at the double, what's it called? Like
the cross-country
dash or whatever it is. So we got to move 6 inches with the packs. Down here with this platoon, they used to be in the house over here. Vin ended up getting his blitz off, did his 8-inch move, and then he failed his 4-inch, his dash or the follow me, whatever it's called at the end. So they just ended up moving up to this point here. This guy down here ended up digging in. Up over here, Vin ended up breaking up these guys into different areas. So the 1 IC and 2 IC are still hanging out in the back over here. He took the Shrek up to the edge over there, fired 1 shot down, but he ended up missing on that. Vin failed over here with the Stugs. He got him back in the tank, but then he failed his last man standing test or the morale, and they ended up breaking off the table. Down here for the Nebelwerfers, Vin ranged in over on the half tracks. He got ranged in. He got 2 hits. He was able to bail out one of the half tracks. I rolled, I think, like a 2, and then he passed his firepower. The Tigers shot down here, and of course, Vin was able to get 1 hit. Failed my 3-up to send it off to a Sherman, and then the Firefly just got blown up. So now I'm just down to 3 regular Shermans over here. So that's not a good thing. So this is what we're looking at right now for the bottom of turn 6 coming up for the Brits. We got to figure something out. We got to figure out something fast. So I'll be back in a flash. We are back for the bottom of turn 6. Is he playing? So we ended up getting the plane to come in this turn, and then for our movement, we failed to get that guy back in from the bail back there. We ended up pushing up the rest of these guys to the fence line, and then we ended up shooting and moving them up later. But we'll get to that part in the shooting phase. Up here, we did a blitz move with the Shermans. We did a blitz move with the Bofers as well. Ended up keeping the Dingo down here still. I don't think I had anything else that I moved on the table. Yeah. For shooting, between the half tracks, the Dingo, and I had 1 Bofer with his 24-inch range, we dumped Oh yeah, and this Sherman here on the edge. We dumped a whole bunch of machine gun fire into the Shrek that was here on the lip. Vin made 5 saves, but we were able to pin him, so that kind of sucked. So there's probably going to be lights out for that dingo. Let's just be realistic here. So that's what we're looking at here for shooting. The 2 Shermans in the back were able to fire down with semi-indirect fire, and I was able to kill 2 of Vin's Nebelwerfers, which is actually pretty big over here. And then down on this side, I ended up coming over and dropping some bombs down here on these guys. I got to roll 6 dice. I only got 2 hits. I was able to kill 1 guy, and then I just pinned the unit. So this is what we're looking at right now for the bottom of turn 6. We'll be back in a second for top of turn 7 for the Germans. So we are back here for the top of turn 7 for the Germans, right? Yeah, top of turn 7. This turn, Vin passed his last man standing with them. The Nebelwerfers ended up fleeing the table. He did a blitz move with his Tigers, pushed up the road. He then had to move up with his Pack 40s over here. He was like a half an inch out of taking a pot shot at those M5 half tracks in the middle of the street. So he just ended up doing his cross-country dash over those hills right there. Back over here, he failed to unpin these guys over here. He did unpin the Shrek that was over there because he had to re-roll with the 1IC. What else did you do in movement over here? Oh, yeah, that's right. You were able to dig in the 1IC?
Yeah.
Right? And then failed to dig in the 2IC that was over there. In the shooting phase, the Shrek, who is right here, blitzed out, fired 2 shots, got 2 bales on those guys right there. The Tigers, who, like I said, moved up the road over here, they did a blitz, fired 2 shots, then was able to blow up 1 Sherman there, and then the command tank was a bale for them. I think that's all that happened for shooting. Vin was able to...
Oh, the Shrek?
Yeah, shoot and scoot the Shrek back into the woods over there. So I got a boatload of bales I need to take care of, and a couple last man standings as well for the bottom of turn 7. So hopefully things go well, because if not, this is probably going to end up being lights out. So I'll be back in a flash. Brits, bottom turn 7. So we're back for the bottom of turn 7 here, and it was a pretty good turn, keeping us alive. So we ended up making all of our rolls to get everybody back in the tanks, and we passed the motivation with them. So we didn't even need to roll motivation because we got them back in. Yeah. So 2 tanks, I'm good to go. Nobody bailed. For the half tracks, I was able to get in 3 of the 4. I ended up pushing them up to here, and then with the blitz move and then their regular move, I ended up dismounting them and getting them out, and then I got them within assault range of the what do you call it? The Shrek team, everybody else that was over here in the woods from the top down. The Bofers, instead of keep pushing them up, kind of just tucked them back behind that building there, and then hoping to get some shots off on those Pack 40s if Vin gets a little bit closer, just so I can kind of defend those back 2 objectives over there. So in the shooting phase, I dumped machine gun fire out the wazoo down at that Shrek team, and then at the 2IC and the 1IC. Yeah, I had like 5 hits with those guys. They were like dug in. 1 was gone to the ground, and Vin made like every one of his saves. So then I had to go in for an assault, and then Vin had 5 shots on defensive fires against the motor rifle platoon, and he ended up only hitting on 1 of them. I made the 3-up save. Then I got 4 guys in the close combat, and I was able to kill the 2IC, the Shrek, and then Vin opted to just fall back with the 1IC. He was close enough to get in the combat, but he opted not to do it, so he just kind of fell back, and I just occupied the woods over here, contesting that objective. So we'll be back in a flash, I think, now for top of turn 8 for the Germans. We got 1 last man standing motivation, and then an unpinned. So we'll see what happens here. It looks like those Tigers are still pushing up the road. Anything can happen at this point, so we'll be back in a second, top of turn 8. So we are back for top of turn 8 for the Germans. In this turn, things went pretty good for Vin. He was able to pass the last man standing check for that 1 platoon there. His 1IC, he ended up moving back with the blitz move, and then he dug him in. Over here, he failed to unpin these guys once again, so he just dug in and got on the ground with them. Up here, he moved up the Pack 40s, and then the Tigers, they pushed up the road with the blitz move, and then they did an 8-inch move. Vin had 2 shots down here, needing 5s to hit. He got 1 hit on the back Sherman over there, and I failed his firepower, so he's just a bail, so I got to make another one of those saves. So this is what we're looking at right now. Vin's just out for contesting with those guys, so I really have to capitalize on this. But before I do anything, I'm going to have to get that guy back in the tank. So we'll be back in a second for bottom of turn 8 for the Brits. See how things go. So we are back for the bottom of turn 8, right?
Yeah.
Bottom of turn 8. Went for it, didn't work out too well. So for the Shermans, I was able to get back in to prevent having to roll for motivation. I did fail my blitz move, so I just had to regularly move around here to get out of range of those 2 Tigers over there. Back over here with the Beauforts, I just kind of positioned them a little bit differently to tuck in along the house right there. And then down here, I took my rifle platoon. I figured now or never, man. I shouldn't even still be in this game, so I figured I might as well just throw them out there and see what happens. So I ended up shooting down here. I didn't get as many hits as I'd like, so I wasn't able to pin anybody. And then in the assault, Vin had 8 dice, and I think he got 5 hits on the nose. I ended up losing my Piat and my mortar in the defensive fire. So they got pinned and beat back into the woods. So we'll be back in a second for top of turn 9. Objective up there is looking pretty good for Vin, so we'll see how it plays out. Be back in a flash. So we are back for top of turn 9 for the Germans, and Vin is going to force my hand. So in the movement phase, Vin was able to do a blitz and then get the Tigers up there to contest. He moved up the Pack 40s, their slow plot across the cross country, and then for you who haven't been paying attention, all I have left over here are some Beauforts. So, yeah, this things aren't going to probably go well for us these next couple turns. Down here, Vin failed to unpin the Sturm platoon once again, which has been awesome for me. And then down here, these guys both stayed dug in, but they did shoot. Vin fired 9 shots. 10 shots between these guys. And then some people over there. Vin got 2 hits on the platoon here. I made both saves. So I'll be back for bottom of turn 9. Last hurrah. We'll see what happens. Oh, a little side note. I have one more machine gun team from this motor platoon that I forgot to take out of one of the half tracks. So Jimmy's going to be joining the party in a second. So maybe that'll be able to help out a little bit. I have no idea. We'll have to wait and see. So I'll be back in a flash. So we are back for the bottom of turn 9 for the Brits. This is literally the last hurrah right here. So for this turn, we did get the plane in. I came in and tried to take some shots over at the Pack 40s. I had 4 shots. Nothing happened over there. The Beauforts over here, I got my blitz move off. So I moved them up. I passed my cross check to go over the hedges right there. Got within 4 inches, and then I fired 8 shots down to the Pack 40s. I think I rolled, like 7 misses and 1 hit, and then you made like a 3-up save. It was really bad. Yeah. So Pack 40s, I just wanted to get like 1 off the table so if I would have to pass that motivation to keep them on. Didn't work out that way. Down here, I used the Shermans, and I used the machine gun platoon to assault the 1 IC and the 1 remaining guy from that platoon over here. During that, Vin had 8 shots. He had 4 hits for the machine gun team. So I was able to go through, but I died. I failed two tests with my machine guns. And then I ended up getting in with the command team. I biffed on to hit him, and then Vin passed his motivation and killed him. And then I decided to assault with my Shermans next because I figured it's the only thing I could do at this point to even try to win the game. Vin missed both of his shots with his Fausts, and then I got in and I was able to kill both guys that were sitting there. So what we're looking at right now, I have control of this objective. Vin needs to unpin over here. Up there, Vin and I both have somebody contesting, so it's really going to come down to if Vin can unpin here, the game will continue. If he fails, it's game over. Vin, where do you want to do it?
Oh, right here.
Right here.
Oh, man.
Do me a favor. Give me a game I shouldn't have won. Oh, you
thank God.
Bastard. All right, so Vin unpins. All right, so we'll be back in a second for recap for top of 10 Germans. We are back for top of turn 10. I hate Vin. So in this turn, Vin did a blitz move, moved those guys up to get in the contesting position, and then he dug them in with their second move because they're Germans, so they can do a bunch of cool stuff. So they're dug in here, which is going to make my life an absolute nightmare. Back down here, the Pack 40s fired 4 shots into the Beauforts, missed all 4. Then the Tigers, they shot their 4 cannon shots. Vin got 2 hits. I failed both of my 5-up saves, and then since I have gun shields, Vin had to try to punch him through, and he only was able to get 1 through. So I got 1 Boffer left over there. So there's still a hope to drag this thing out even a little bit longer. But before I do, I got some saves to make. So down here, I got last man standing. If I fail this, then I have to do a formation morale test, I think. There doesn't say anything in the book. I don't see anything about you have to have a 1IC or 2IC on the table to roll the company morale or anything like that anymore. Could totally be wrong. Put it down in the comments if I am. But if I fail this, then I guess I just have to roll company formation because I only got 1 platoon left on the table. So here we go. Number 1, I'm going to roll it right over here. Daddy's little garden. Son of a bitch. So they're off. So I got a 4-up. We're going to go back to the garden. 4-up to see if we stay in the game.
Oh,
Yes! Yes! We will drag this out one more turn. Bottom turn 10. Brits, be back in the flesh.
God.
You know what? I read over the rule again, and they took out the dramatic last stand roll. Bit of a bummer, but that's just the end of the game. I made a mistake. So when I failed this roll down here to keep the rifle platoon in, that
They
put
were
me...
support though, weren't they?
No, they were motor platoon was part of the formation.
Okay.
So that only put me in 1 team in good spirits, which is not enough for my entire formation to be in good spirits. So I guess we'll just go right into the end of game recap right now. So that, like I said, that was the end of the game. Only had one unit in good spirits. You need 2 to pass your formation motivation. So that's the end of that, which is a bit of a bummer. I like the reroll. Kind of sucks that they took it out, but you know,
Yeah.
whatever. It is what it is. New version. I'll get used to it. So I guess I'll go over the my plan of attack for the Brits and kind of work it in over to Vin. So for my deployment, I had the Fireflies and everybody set up over here with the Daimlers over here, the 1IC, 2IC back in that corner over there, and then the Dingoes tucked in over here. When I had that extended deployment, I figured I was going to try to get these guys to push up and really not make a mad dash for this objective down here, but try to play a little more aggressively and try to pick off those Stugs that were over there a little earlier in the game. But if you guys remember, I was unable. I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. I couldn't make a save. Like it was those first 3 turns really hamstrung me as far as what I was able to do. So you know, once that platoon went off the table, I was really just trying to stay alive till I got the reserves on. And once my reserves all came in on this side, kind of reinvigorated me a little bit. I was able to just, you know, do a mass push and actually make a play on this objective down here and kind of stay in the game. But Vince still had so many assets on the table, like I said, with the Tigers rolling up over there, and then with the Pac 40 slowly plotting their way back to that objective. Like I said, it was a mad dash. I had to take this because I didn't have enough stuff left to defend that and take this at the same time. And like I said, I got the Stugs off. If I think we would have been able to get these guys off a little bit sooner, it would have made a little bit more of a difference. But like I said, bad dice in the beginning really killed me, and then okay dice in the second half of the game kept me in it when I really shouldn't have been in it in the first place. This game should have probably been over like turn 5 or 6. It just I ended up making the rolls when I needed to later in the game, but I didn't have enough on the table, I think, at that point, even after making the dice rolls, to really make a serious push on this objective and take it with what I had left on the table. I don't know, Vin, what were you thinking as far as how things played out for you?
The dice were definitely my friend much more than they were yours.
Yeah, this is a good game for your dice, man.
Yeah,
I mean, even if like you just rolled average, I still think it was a really good game for you. Regardless, things worked out pretty well for you tactically, I think, as well.
Yeah, the only thing that didn't work out for me was I started off with the 1 platoon over here, and I pushed them to the fence line. And my main idea was to literally just kind of keep taking each fence increment until I made it to the
the hotel.
The hotel, and just held off the hotel and had my Stugs kind of protect this because I didn't want to bring my Stugs that far forward. I was just trying to get my infantry up to there because with the Sturmkompanie having all the Panzerfaust, it's like...
Yeah, I wasn't going to run into that mess until
like
it was whittled down, and until I did some damage on it.
But then I would have gave you a choice to either shoot at Sturmkompanie in a building or deal with Stugs.
Well, I would have loved to have been able to deal with the Stugs if I would have been able to get a Firefly to to get more than one round of fire off before it got blown. I lost both of them like super quick. Like that absolutely wrecked me. That was bad.
That first round of fire from the Stugs over here, I think that was a pretty big game changer just on turn 1.
Yeah.
Like, that just took away that entire threat.
Yeah, well, I think what killed me too was I wasn't able to make that 3-up like missed target save.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, so that wasn't good.
That was bad.
That wasn't good at all.
And then not having to deal with a plane for 5 turns. Well, more like 7, I think. I think you only got it like 2 or 3 turns.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I only get it. I got it when I didn't need it.
Yeah, exactly.
It was pretty much how it worked out. And when it did come on, I think I only was able to really do anything to that one Stug. I think besides that, I pinned these guys and killed one base, and that was really all the damage that I did. So yeah, the plane didn't do that well this game either.
And the one thing that kind of didn't work out, but it's okay, and obviously ended up being fine, was I had to pack 40s over here, and I was waiting for...
Oh, them coming in. Yeah, you're waiting for my reserves to come in on that corner. Yeah, didn't work out that way. But, it didn't really matter. I mean, like I said, this was just a box of death over here in this corner of the table.
That last... I'd say 4 rounds when you got everybody on and they were all pushing this side. Like, that was a nail biter.
Yeah, and that was the only time I was getting guys back in bailed and then passing motivations to keep guys on the table. Like I said, it worked out pretty good. Version 4 overall, like first game, I'm not doing cartwheels like super excited about. There's some stuff that I like. The new movement orders I think are awesome. Yeah, a whole bunch of complexity to the game, like as far as risk reward for that kind of stuff. It's really cool. There's some other stuff like I'm not a huge fan of, like the being able to pick out the tanks. I kind of like the old way where you had to roll the 5 up to be able to do it. Like now it's just too easy to take out fireflies or pop assets. Like it just seems like it's you can really whittle down somebody's only anti-tank platoon or some of the assets they need on the table to kind of make it an even match. You can really do some damage pretty early. So I don't know if I'm a huge fan of that yet.
I'd say we'd probably house rule. Because I kind of agree with that, bringing the 5.
Yeah, like I said, we'll see. We'll play a couple more games just as the rules as is. Like I said, there's some good stuff in here. Like I said,
you haven't played your fucking Soviets yet. So.
Yeah. Once I put the Strakovy on the table, and then with the new motivation too, I think for the units. Like in this game, most of the platoons are pretty small, so you didn't really get a chance to abuse the new morale units. But yeah, like once you put like Strakovy out, like I said, I'm a Soviet player, so like once Strakovy hits the table, and I'm not having to make motivation until I have 3 bases left on the table, like I got a feeling that's going to be, I don't want to say it might be broken. I'm going to go out on a limb.
Against Viking or Totenkopf, that might actually be pretty even though, because they're pretty much all... Like, there's not much support on my list.
Yeah, there's not much support on this, but like you have to kill 25 to 27. Like, it just depends on how big the platoon is. Like, that's a lot, and there's going to be 2 of those platoons. I just don't see, like, that motivation rule for the Soviets. I think it's going to be a deal breaker. Even for, like, Tankovy, like, if you run 10 T-34 76s, which is, like, only, like, 400 points, I think, or something around that.
Yeah.
Like, you have to get them down to 2 tanks.
Yeah, but another thing that I can take out that's going to be a total pain in the ass for you is when you get to choose that one person, I can start taking out sappers turn 1.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying that it's not, but I'm just saying they're going to stay on the table so much longer. I just don't. The new motivation, I'm not a huge fan of it because even if you look like historically or just, companies would break off at like 10 to 15% casualties. Now it's like every platoon is filled with John Rambo from top to bottom, and they're not leaving until the last man. Well, it's like if you think about it, like you don't take a motivation until there's like 2 or 3 guys left. Yeah, like it's the motivation. Like I'm not a big fan of the motivation. Like it works for the flow of the game and the new version. Like it works for that, but it's like one of those things that just don't sit well with me. But maybe it'll grow on me after a couple more games. But like I don't want to get into doing a review on version 4 after just one game. I'll get a couple more games under my belt and see how I feel about some of these other things, and then we'll talk about it in like another video. But yeah, thanks for watching the first version 4 battle report. Probably get another one of these up hopefully next week or the week after. Like I said, we got some other stuff coming down the chute pretty soon too, so just keep an eye out for Test of Honor, Flames of War. Got something else coming in. I can't really talk about it yet because I haven't actually hit the purchase button yet, but it should be pretty cool stuff. So like I said, like, subscribe, all that jazz, and we'll see you guys again later.